Welcome back to my channel, and in this video today I'm going to show you how to finish your seams without an overlocker or a serger. Because if you're a new sewer, you probably don't have one of these fancy overlocking serger machines yet. And so I'm going to give you 2 ways that you can finish your seams without this. So stay tuned. If we haven't met yet, my name is Evelyn Wood and I help new sewers just like you learn how to sew and learn the art of dressmaking. And I get asked all of the time how to do a zigzag stitch. How should I finish my seams? How do I stop them from fraying? Well, it is actually very important. There are 2 main reasons why you actually need to finish the edges of your fabric. And the main reason is because of fraying. If you pull this out, you'll find all your threads start to come off like this. And as soon as you put this in the washing machine, all your hard work will just disintegrate into nothing. And the other reason is for aesthetic reasons. So it looks pretty. We want it to look nice and neat on the inside. So I have 2 methods for you. My first preferred method is pinking shears. Now these are very old school. They are scissors that have a zigzag on the inside, if you will. And all you have to do is simply finish your seam off, usually at about 1.5 centimeters is good. And then all you have to do is simply cut off the very, very tippy edges of the fabric. And look at that. You've got a beautifully finished seam, just like a vintage seams would be in the old days. But if you don't like the idea of pinking shears, let me show you a few ways you can do a zigzag edge. Now, I don't like this one because it is, to me, less pretty. It's kind of ugly. But this might be the only thing that you have, in which case I'm going to get nice and close and I'll show you this zigzag stitch. So before we start this zigzag stitch, once you have actually stitched your seam, you want to really neaten it up. So give it a trim and just even off the edges and make sure that both sides are even and it's really straight. So let's start with the very basic zigzag stitch first. Your seam is sewn, usually at about 1.5 centimeters. And then we need to zigzag down the edge. We need to cover those raw edges. Select your zigzag stitch. Mine is this one here, and it is already set to a default. Now you want to make the stitch width, so the width of the zigzags to probably the widest that it goes. And depending on your machine, you might want to play around with it a bit. Now you'll be aiming to get your needle in so it falls just over the fabric edge when it hits the right side, and when it comes back to the left side, it will take up and hit the fabric again. So as it goes over, it should hit just over. So just missing the fabric as it goes on this side, back on the fabric on this side. Let's have a look. And that's what you end up with there. And then to really finish this, I recommend doing a straight stitch back down right along, just along the edge of where you have actually the zigzags sort of touch the fabric. It will just finish it off. So if you put that straight stitch down there, as you can see, it just finishes it off and makes it that little bit nicer. Now let's add another element to this. You want to use your overcasting foot. So this is foot that looks like this, and it has a little groove on one side like this that you can lay your fabric up against the bottom. You can see how your fabric will rest in there. Pop this one on. And now we have a little guide to keep our fabric in place. And now we just sew that same zigzag stitch using this guide, just butting the fabric right up against that edge there, all the way. So you can see that just made it so much neater by having that guide there. And then of course you can do the straight stitch down the edge there. And then there is one more element we can add to this to make it even a little bit nicer and easier. So using our overcast foot, we actually want to select if your machine does this stitch. It may not, so it is this one here. It's the zigzag with kind of like the dash straight line down the side of it. And let's just use that guide again, butting your fabric up. And now this one kind of sews that straight line at the same time. So as you can see, this stitch here sort of sews that straight line that we were doing with the zigzags at the same time. If you do not have an overlocker or serger, there are two fantastic ways that you can finish your seams and keep them from fraying and disappearing out of thin air. So thank you so much for watching this tips video today. I really hope that this has helped you, given you a little tip that you can use and take home for your own sewing. If you liked this video, please go ahead and like it and leave me a comment below and tell me which one of these methods you prefer. And as always, if you're interested in learning to sew and being inspired by different projects, please subscribe to my channel because I'll have more of this in the future. And if you're very, very new to sewing and still learning all the basics, you might want to head over to my website at evelynwood.com.au. The link is below, where you can actually sign up for my free 5-day crash course to learn to sew. Seriously, I've had students that have been sewing for 20 years told me they still learnt something from this course. So please, I'd love to have you in if you're very new to sewing and need to get started. Otherwise, thanks so much again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Let's take a closer.